Hello, everyone, and welcome to the newest episode of the movie-related podcast, Cinema Miscellaneum. I am Ryan Michaels, and I'm here with my co-host.
Hello, everyone. I am formerly Film Fanatic 57, aka Will.
Yeah. The structure of this week's podcast is going to be very similar to that of last week's. I mean, we're going to go over some movie news, stuff we've been watching, and then review the latest releases. But before we get into that stuff, we would like to make kind of two, I don't know if they're announcements or statements or whatever you call them, but the first is that we apologize that this week's podcast is 1 or 2 days late. It was due to some technical difficulties that we didn't really see coming, but they won't be happening anymore because, we've identified the source. But, whatever. But actually, I think it has the delays have worked out in this week's episode's favor because in the last 2 days, in the delay, there has been a ton of really interesting movie news coming out that we wouldn't have discussed had we done the podcast on Sunday. And also, I hadn't seen The Expendables by Sunday, and I saw it a couple days ago. So now I am going to be able to review it instead of just Will going off and reviewing it himself. So,
woohoo!
Yeah.
Yes, and also the other thing we would like to say is that, unfortunately, I know this kind of screws up the momentum we've built up with this podcast, or maybe it doesn't, but Ryan will be out of town for the next 2 weeks, 2 weekends. So that basically means he will not be able to participate in Cinema Miscellaneum with me. However, that does not necessarily mean that there will not be Cinema Miscellaneum for the next 2 weeks, because I am going to try and get my hands on a co-host to do it with me and to take Ryan's place.
Cacman11, we need you.
Yes, Cacman11, we've been talking about you. We want you to come on the podcast. But that's beside the point. Basically, if there... I'm not promising that there will be Cinema Miscellaneum in the next 2 weeks, but if there is, Ryan will not be here, and instead of Ryan, we will have some random guest. I have no idea who that guest could be. Do you have any idea who that guest could be, Ryan? No, you don't. So, yes, let's just get into movie news.
Hooray!
Yes.
So, first, 1 or 2 stories here are kind of throwaway. The first is kind of a follow-up to something that we talked about on last week's podcast. Is yeah, actually, you know what? You talk about this.
You keep making me do this. I don't want to... Okay, so basically, this story is... I don't even know why we're talking about this anymore. We're only doing this because we talked about it last week, and we kind of have to follow up to it. John Chu, the director of Step Up to the Streets and Step Up 3D, which is currently in cinemas, will be directing the 3D Justin Bieber biopic / concert film. Oh, yeah. So, yeah. What do you think of this news, Ryan Michaels?
Okay, well, if you've listened to last week's podcast, you have a pretty decent idea of what, Will and myself think about this. He just doesn't really have any, interesting life experience to turn this into, a legitimately interesting biopic. I think they're just kind of doing this just to kind of fap to the smell of their own money. I don't know. It doesn't really intrigue me. It doesn't really sound like an interesting project. I mean, I'll probably end up seeing it, but I don't think there's really much potential here for a good movie. And I'm not just saying this because I am not a fan of Mr. Bieber.
Yeah, I am kind of glad, actually, that John Chu is doing this, just because he's a person who hasn't really been making any interesting movies that people really care about. So, because of that, we won't really miss him when he's off having fun in Justin Bieber land. So, yeah, I really couldn't care less about this fucking project. I mean, I don't resent the fact that it's happening. I mean, it kind of was inevitable that something like this would happen, and in 3D. Let's just hope it doesn't completely and utterly suck ass. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Yay.
Another concern of mine about this is that it's going to be really, really rushed. I mean, this movie is coming out in February 2011, and they have 5-6 months to write, shoot, edit, and then put out this movie in theaters. So I think they're going to rush it, and it's just not going to be a compelling or really interesting movie.
Yes.
But because Justin Bieber is ridiculously popular, people will line up to see it. So
Yeah.
you know,
Woohoo.
who the hell are we to complain? You know.
Yeah, God. Who cares about us? So anyway, that's the Justin Bieber biopic. Yay, fuck you. Now, Ryan, tell us, what's the next bit of movie news that we shall be discussing on today's episode of Cinema Miscellaneum?
Okay, Green Lantern, like the big 150 million superhero movie, Green Lantern, starring Ryan Reynolds and directed by Martin Campbell, has finished shooting. It's finished like filming, so now they're going to go into post production where they do all the special effects and all that good stuff. And they're currently working on writing a sequel. And Michael Goldenberg, who if you don't know, has written the fifth Harry Potter movie, is working on the sequel. I'm looking forward to this movie a decent bit. It's probably my most anticipated superhero movie of next year, and because there's a ton of other movies coming out, like Captain America and Thor, that just kind of seem really throwaway, and I could really kind of care less about. But yeah, I'm fairly excited about this. I mean, Martin Campbell, if you guys don't know, has done two fantastic James Bond movies, which is GoldenEye and Casino Royale. So he has definitely proven himself to be able to kind of balance an interesting, compelling, emotional narrative and arc with badass action. So I'm looking forward to the Green Lantern. What are your thoughts on it, Mr. Will?
I kind of feel sorry a bit for the Green Lantern, actually, just because, in terms of hype recently, it's kind of been shunted aside, especially at Comic-Con, by all the Avengers crap that was going on. Because, I mean, let's face it, this year Comic-Con was pretty much Avengers Con, and, or Marvel Con, and, yeah, they pretty much just dominated that bitch, and even though they released a teaser for Green Lantern there, no one really came away talking about it. But, anyway, so yeah, I kind of feel sorry about it, and yeah, I have expectations for Green Lantern. I think it could be good. I mean, Martin Campbell's definitely very hit or miss. On the one hand, he's directed Casino Royale. On the other hand, he's directed, Vertical Limit or whatever. And so, yeah, I mean, but overall, I definitely think he's capable of helming, a big action film like this, and I think he's definitely a decent enough choice for this movie. And I do like Ryan Reynolds, and I'm kind of interested in some of the directions they're choosing to take with this film, like the old CGI suit, which I think is actually kind of intriguing. I don't, hate that decision. So yeah, Green Lantern could be interesting. I don't know. I mean, I'm not, super duper pumped for it, because I just can't get super duper pumped for a Green Lantern movie, because I just really don't care that much. But, I mean, yeah, it's fine. Whatever. It could be good. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, very cool. So, now we're going to move on to the stuff that we actually really kind of care about. Mr. Will, take it away. Talk about Black Swan.
Yes, so Black Swan is the new film coming out this year from director Darren Aronofsky, who, in case you don't know, directed such films as Pi, Requiem for a Dream, The Fountain, and most recently The Wrestler. And I think we're both pretty big fans of Darren Aronofsky. I'd say the Requiem for a Dream and The Wrestler are two of the best movies just ever. Just period. Those two movies are just masterpieces to me. And yeah, I'm definitely intrigued by anything he's doing. And his new film Black Swan, a trailer was released for it today, actually. And basically the premise of Black Swan is Natalie Portman plays this, big shot kind of ballet dancer who's supposedly going to get the lead role in the newest New York ballet thing, majigger, which is Black Swan. And kind of what comes with playing the lead in Black Swan is you have to play two distinctly different kind of characters. One is the White Swan, who's very kind of pure and innocent, thus the color white, and one is the Black Swan, who's very kind of dangerous and sensual and seductive and kind of sinful, thus the color black. And so, yeah, she kind of has to play both of those parts. However, competition comes along in the form of Mila Kunis. And Mila Kunis' personality in the film definitely embodies more the Black Swan than the White Swan. And she kind of, out of their rivalry, begins to form a very strange friendship with Natalie Portman. And that friendship starts to kind of get out of hand and a bunch of crazy crap starts happening. So yeah, the